All right, guys. This is Bitcoin Geekend. This is Toru from Bitcoin Geekend. And today, it's been a while since I created the last video. It's probably maybe 3, 4, 5 months. I was a little busy creating courses, etc. So I was away from this English channel. So I just wanted to come back, and I thought today is a good chance for me to re-engage for the this Bitcoin Geekend channel. And one of the reason is I actually bought Bitcoin today. Well, as everybody knows, Bitcoin is pretty much it's crashing. It's well, everybody was thinking that $6,000 was a sort of the floor, and the price was sort of stable for a while, but it just came down to broke the floor, and it came down to 5,000 and 4,000, and today it went down. It just touched to like a 3,990 something dollars today. And actually, yes, today I actually placed the buy order, and I actually bought a Bitcoin. It's not a huge amount, but a little bit. And so what I want to do is I just want to share the reason why I purchased the Bitcoin today. And it could be crazy. And well, disclaimer is this is purely my personal perspective. And hang on, it's let me. Okay, all right, just turn down the volume. Right, so this is my very personal perspective, and it's not guarantee anything. It's just my personal idea. Well, of course, it just comes out of the numbers, but it's not guaranteed, and it could be wrong. It could be very wrong. The Bitcoin could go down to maybe 2,800. Who knows? I really have no idea, but I just there was several rules I created, and I just actually purchased Bitcoin today at 3,700. Well, it's JPY, so it's a little bit different, but I just want to share the ideas, and this is for my recording purposes. Today is a November 25, and I thought it may be a good idea to you know, have this online, and so that I can keep the recording. All right. So the reason okay. So first thing first is I don't use a technical analysis that much. I usually look around a volume, trading volumes, and I take a look at like Google Analytic of how many people are actually searching Bitcoins. And the other one is if I go to CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, they actually publish their some sort of the trading information, what we call COT report. That's a commitment of traders. That's a weekly basis a report. And actually, if anybody trading a gold or oils or forex, usually professional people or like a fund manager goes to that data. It's published out of Saturday morning in Japan. It's a Friday evening in the Eastern Standard Time, and it's published in Japanese time. It's Saturday morning. It's pretty good source of all the information. How many people are going long? How many people going short? How many people having what sort of the open interest? And it just gives a lot of information towards a trading asset. So I usually take a look at that, and I also look at like lending rate of the bitcoins. I look at a well, that's pretty much it. So let's just take a look at the fundamental thing first, and then go to a little bit deeper. All right. So let me just fizzle around with this Zoom app. Right. Okay. So let me just share the screen. Okay. So I hope it's coming out on YouTube. This should be sharing my screen. Okay, it came out. Right. So the first thing first is trading volume. The interesting thing of the Bitcoin is usually if the trading volume goes up, the Bitcoin price usually goes up. This is simply because this is a fairly new market, right? This is not like a gold or oils or like an institutional. It's not an institutional market as of now, as of today. Well, it's gonna be down the road, but not now. So what really happens is when people comes into the market, they usually start joining the markets from actually buying, not from the shorting, right? I mean, well, some people could do, but usually people comes into the market and when their first choice is buying some, right? So when the trading volume goes up, that means newer people comes in and trading volume goes up, then usually price goes up. And vice versa, if the trading volume goes down, price really sort of shrinks. So if you look at this chart that I put up, this includes a Bitcoin and Ethereum and a little arguably Bitcoin Cash. It's not sure it's very good idea to include it or not, but I was using this for a long period of time, so I just included it. So what this chart represent is the top three cryptos market caps is a blue line. And the other one is this orange line represents a top three. Well, actually, not the top three, but a major cryptos, not the market volume. What's that? Oh, market caps. Sorry for that. Market caps. So if you look at this area, you can clearly see right now the volume is pretty much increasing, and the price or the total market cap is sort of nosediving. So I mean, if this total trading volume is ditching down to, I would say maybe Bitcoin is maybe end, or like this could be going down to maybe 2,800, which is the price when the Bitcoin Cash actually forked out last year. That was August 1st. The price was 2,800. So that could be probably the price target. However, actually the trading volume is pretty much increasing. And you can see the divergence here. So usually when the trading volume goes up and when the price comes down, what really happens is two things. One could be trading volume shrinks too. The other way is trading volume keeps going up and the price needs to comes back up to catching up to the volume. So right now the situation is a trading volume is increasing and the price is ditching. So who's gonna win? Who knows? However, here is one of the idea that the price is just ditching for a while and needs to comes back up. That's one of the clue. And the other one is just gonna pull up some of the stats that I usually use. Right. So this is the COT report from the CME, which is actually a lot of trade. It's not a huge trading volume, but it's pretty close to Bitfinex, I believe. Their open interest is somewhere around 4,000, 5,000 contracts open interest, and it's pretty good volume coming to the good volume. So it gives a lot of indications. So what I was really looking at was as of like August 14, this has got a actually this was representing a biggest buying volume from the market right at that time. I mean, the top 4 buyers was buying like crazy when the price was 6,180 or something. So I was just giving some ideas to my students or to the community that, hey, this is a good chance to buy. And actually the price went up to somewhere around, I believe that was 7,000, probably 350 or 450 was 7,700, somewhere around. And then what really happened was actually the price actually, the other signal came out that was showing, hey, everybody, what big buyer was actually selling. So this could be the end of the the rise of the Bitcoin, and it actually shrinked. And so this indication has got a pretty good perspective that I usually get. And what really happened recently is this is the one. I believe this is the 2018 November 6th, and that was pretty surprising. I mean, the previous week was like 10:30, just before the what? Just before a Halloween day, right? Right before the Halloween day, all the buyer was buying. So I was like, this could go up a little bit. And what really happened the next week? Oh, this was awful. This was like November 6th was all the big buyer was selling like crazy. I mean, that was a big change. So I was giving a little caution to my student, but that that could, I didn't say that will, that could break the floor of 6,000. However, 6,000 floor is pretty firm, so we need to see. That's what I was telling. And however, I mean, if this selling pressure is right, what's going to happen is this was pretty much the same energy when this 724 was representing. So I mean, if the same sort of the drops comes into the play, what we need to look at is it's pretty much 4,650. That was the price of the everybody will take profit level. So well, and that actually came into reality, which I didn't want, but it just came in. And so this was one of another clue, right? The first week we covered a trading volume, and the other one is a positioning information, and the third is what I call a multi-hash index, which I use for my trading purposes. So what this represents is, I think many people now knows that Bitcoin's price correlate with a hash rate, right? If the hash rate goes up, usually Bitcoin's sort of credibility goes up. That means more value comes in, so Bitcoin price follows. However, I would say after this February, the hash rate was keep increasing, but it wasn't driving the price up. The price was just like going sideways and just like ditching a little bit down, and finally just broke the floor. So if we just look at the price, it doesn't give us a lot of information where the price is going to be heading. However, so what I did here is I sort of I convert a hash rate into price, and then compare to the actual Bitcoin prices and create a signal showing the difference. So if the histogram is too much high, Bitcoin price is too much high, like this, just December 17, that was actually the date of the CME future was launched, and that was the highest level. And so that was clearly showing the sell signal. And after that, the price just started to collapse a lot. And these days, like a coin, JPY, trading a exchange, one of the biggest exchange that is called CoinCheck was hacked. And I think they have been stolen somewhere around $400 million at the time. That was crazy, right? And after that, $10,000 support was broken, and USD tether issue came out, and everybody was thinking it's not going to be good because a lot of ICOs was condemned, and finally SEC and CFTC was coming into play, and they invited like these people, and everybody was thinking, hey, probably CFTC gonna crash all the Bitcoin crypto market. And what really happened is I'm a big fan of Giancarlo. He's a CFTC chairman. He showed up to the meeting, and what he says was, he has got 3 kids, and however, no kids was really interested in trading shares or stocks or whatsoever. However, the first time they ever came to me, to Giancarlo, asking whether or not I should be buying this, was actually Bitcoin. So he was clearly stating that sort of the statement at the first of the meeting, and so that changed all the air. So I believe that he is a sort of a hero to the Bitcoin, and right after that, price just bumped back up. So I think that was a very good. Giancarlo played a big role. And at the same time, this multi-hash index was clearly showing the buy signal. So that was, that was a good buy chance. Anyway, however, this sort of the hash rate was declining. However, if you look at this signal, when the signal comes back to the 0 level, every time comes back to the 0 level, Bitcoin was sold. Bitcoin was facing the selling pressure. So the last time it came back up to 0 level was somewhere around February 18th. So at the time, the price was somewhere around 11,000, somewhere around, and came down to 6,600. So we can clearly think that if the same signal comes into play, we probably need to predict that same amount of the descending pressure may be coming into play. So I was thinking that I don't want to see this comes back up again, but it actually happened right here. Right, so that was a 1030, and however, 1030 was everybody's buying, as I told previously from the COT report. So that was okay. However, the second time this 0 level came out, and that was somewhere around November 13th. So I believe that was November 15th or 16th. All the big player was selling the Bitcoin from the COT report. So COT report and this multi-hash index that I created was showing clearly the sell signal. So what if these dates, like a 10, 11, 13, 11, 14, somewhere around, let's say the price is somewhere around 6,400, I believe. Yeah, 6,400. So what if same amount of the drop comes into play from here to here? From here to here. So this is the number, right? So first time, 11,000 to 6,600 came into play. So that's 40% drop, right? So if I just apply that 40% drop to this exact date, that was $6,400. The price target is 38.39, and it actually hit today. So I mean, of course, this is not a perfect idea, but for me, it's a good sign to going to buy Bitcoin. And the other thing is, just gonna show some of my trading chart. Right. Okay. Let me just all right. So okay. So this is JPY level. This is 41,800. No, 41,800. That's a level I actually bought Bitcoin today. And this is pretty much equivalent to 3,700. And so this is the title that I attached to this live broadcasting. Anyway, hang on a minute. That's let me see. Yeah, that's right. Let me just grab a screenshot. Hang on, that's Just a moment, please. Just a moment. All right. I'm just gonna. No, 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 it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. Okay. All right. I captured. And I'm just gonna save this to desktop. Right. And I'm just going to. Okay. All right. This is good. All right. So let me just show this chart here. Right. Okay, right. So this is the signal that I sometimes use, and this is based on hash rate and etc. So well, this is a signal. This is a pretty simple RSI, but it's not. This RSI doesn't look for price. I mean, it's not a technical thing. It's more like a fundamental. It's like I use combined hash rate and several another elements into play, and I create this signal. And if you look at a signal, it's usually pretty accurate. Like if the oversold area comes in, the price drops, and if the price goes to overbought level, it just drops, vice versa. However, only the one time this signal didn't really work was this one. Like the date was November 16, and that was the date of the Bitcoin Cash hard fork date. That was actually November 15th. However, I just drew this one. Well, what happened was right before the Bitcoin Cash hard fork, 2017, the what we call like a flipping came in, like Bitcoin's scaling issue came in, and Segwit 2x was canceled. And right after it's been canceled, people flocked to Bitcoin Cash because that was only the sort of the solution for scaling at the time. I mean, at the time. And that's really, and the Bitcoin Cash was before the hard fork. So they had a what they call a emergency algorithm. And what really did was, if the hash rate, if the hash rate is not really catching up enough, their sort of the difficulty just drops dramatically, so that people can mine and get more coins out. So that's a sort of emergency sort of algorithm at the time. And what really happened was before the hard fork, emergency algorithm was sort of being exploited, sort of. And then a lot of miners just switched between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash back and forth to sort of, control, not the control, but it just caused a lot of back and forth for the hash rate. And so that is the reason why the Bitcoin's hash rate was taken out from the table. And that pushed the price down to, I believe that was somewhere around 7,000 or something, I believe. So I mean, that only the time was hash rate was sort of manipulated. Not the manipulated is a good word. Hash rate was taken out in a matter of sort of political way, or like a sort of hash war, hash war. So it doesn't really represent hash rate and price correlation, because usually hash rate goes up, price goes up, but the hash rate was sort of taken out sort of in an artificial way. So that's why this signal didn't work this time at the time. And what happened instead was price really skyrocketed to the very top of the price. That was, I believe that was at 20,000, or just hair below 20,000, I believe. And anyway, so right now, what we are facing right now is this is a signal, pretty much exact the same signal. Right now, the hash rate is ditching down, and that's why price is ditching down. However, it's weird, but I just kind of feel like a it's the same. It's everything comes into play with Bitcoin Cash. And Bitcoin Cash had forked previous year, and this year Bitcoin Cash had forked. And the pretty much the same thing happens. Like a hash rate was taken out from the Bitcoin. That's why the price really ditched. And right now, yes, the hash rate is being deprived and it's ditching down. However, probably that I well, this is just my hunch. This is just my hunch, but this is in Japan. We are having a 3-day holiday, and the US has got a holiday, so it's a little special 3 days. The reason is like me or like a professional dealers, everybody looks at a COT report that I just showed, and however, COT report this week is going to be published this coming Monday, that usually Friday, that US holiday came in. So nobody can see who was really buying and selling when the price hits somewhere around 40 to 100. And that's the information that I really want to see, or other people really want to see, right? Is a big buyer is buying back, or is a short is increasing, or where the price is heading, where the biggest part people is heading to. However, that information cannot be available until next Monday, next Tuesday, and which is sort of giving a blank space for a couple of days more. And well, when the things happen is in the Bitcoin is I don't want to say this is the manipulation, or I don't want to say this is controlled. But it's sometimes these like a heavy price crash usually happens during Saturday or Sunday, or where the people is looking somewhere else. That's sort of the time really price crash or something. If you think about this August 15, the Bitcoin's price dropped to 6,100, or like a gold was crashing down to certain level, anywhere. And the part of the reason is the 45 days rule. And I believe many people have heard about a 45 days rule. That's a hedge fund. People having a contract with a hedge fund needs to declare that they're going to pull out their contract before the date of closing of the hedge fund. And hedge fund closing of this year is December 31, right? So the 45 days rule requires people to, withdraw their money, showing their flags to that they're going to withdraw the money before November 15th. And the other closing date, major closing date, is September 30. So if you count 45 days from September 30, that's 8/15, right? So 8/15 was having a very sharp drop, and at the time, Japanese market was closed because Japan has got a summer holiday during that day. So the things really, the heavy price drop or heavy price movement pretty much comes out when Japan having a little blind dates, like 3 days holiday this time. Or last year, the flipping was happening something like a Sunday, I believe. And that was like a 3 p.m. or like not a 3 p.m. I believe that was a 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. or something like that, I believe. So it just comes into my mind. And I mean, everything is connected to Bitcoin Cash. And if I look at the date, this is a 3-day holiday, and nobody can access to COT reports. So people cannot really being bullish or bearish. So sort of, blank information window was there. And I believe, this could be a good chance for, big players to drop the price. And at the same time, I just bought a Bitcoin 3700. I believe that was 4 p.m. And that was pretty much the time when the another Bitcoin, the previous Bitcoin Cash flipping, sort of 0.5 hitting was something like I believe that was at 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. or something like that. I forgot it, but it's anyway, it's Sunday, like 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. It's where usually, many retail trader is having the access to the computer, and they just dump their coins or they buy like crazily. So it's more like a emotional time. I don't know why, but it just starts. So that's part of the reason. So I mean that's everything came into sort of the streamline to me. That multi-hash index was showing this 3800 was the sort of the bottom, not the bottom, but this is the area that people needs to take the profit, and this is pretty much all caused by Bitcoin Cash, and the timing of the day is the same, and I mean that's it. Just and this the previous signal was somewhere around that's where is it? Yeah, COD stats. Right. So the previous AN signal came out somewhere around 6,436. And if we just, let's say 6,500, and if we make it half, that's probably 3,250. So some of the exchange was, not pointing at that exact level, but it's I mean like a 3,500 level is pretty much that's a close area, and people really needs to take a profit. I mean, if you think about it, if you placed a short positioning somewhere around 6,500, and you really cannot expect extending your profit taking more than half of the price. Like if you took the position at 10,000, you probably need to take at least some of the profit at 5,000, right? Otherwise, it's too greedy. It's just gonna bounce back up. So probably needs to. I just was thinking that this level is somewhere around people is having a good sort of the good timing for people to take profit. And there are other reasons. I was looking at all the tweets that people are sending out, and there is a sort of the psychological idea how to identify people already dumped their coins or not. So that's one of my friend told me, and that was showing people actually dumped their Bitcoin, not like holding. So that's part of the reason that I think this could be the bottom. And so I just placed the order and I just hit. So I just bought a Bitcoin. And that's pretty much it. So I am not sure the Bitcoin will be coming back up or not. I mean, probably, who knows? Bitcoin may be ditching down to 2,800 or 500. Oh, the other thing is, probably a lot of people was looking at the news that Gigawatt, like one of the major US mining pool, went bankrupt with 50, how much was it? $50 million debt or something? That was, the news came out about 2 or 3 days ago. And yesterday, the other news was saying that, well, the first news was saying their only left out asset was somewhere around $50,000. So that's horrible, right? Their debt is like a $50 million, and only their assets they have is 50,000 US dollars. So that's a heavy, bankrupt. But today, one of the other news was saying that that was mistake, and actually, Gigawatt's asset is somewhere around 10 million to 50 million, so which is much bigger than the original publications. So I mean, that sort of thing really happens. I mean, that's when the price needs to goes down, all the bad news comes out, and I wouldn't say it's manipulation, but it could be a coincidence, but it does. But a lot of bad news comes out, and later on, if we look at the news, that news was sort of taken in a little bit different nuance, or that sort of a thing. So I think this weekend could be the bottom, and maybe not. Who knows? And however, I mean, just that sort of the thing. I was looking at all the data and all the fundamentals and all the positioning and all the text mining, and probably this 3600 level, 3700 level uh, could be the bottom, which I'm hoping, but who knows? That's sort of the thing. All right, so that's pretty much it. So right, hang on a minute. Let me just close my screen share. All right. Okay. Okay, so today what I did was I just wanted to leave my records that I actually, bought some of the Bitcoins, not a big amount, but just a little bit. And I just wanted to share some of the ideas that I came out. I sometimes use technical analysis. I believe that that's pretty much effective when the situation is sort of limited. However, I usually use like more like a fundamentals or like positionings or sort of other surroundings things to pinpoint where the price is going. And all the data was saying this is sort of the level. I wouldn't say jumps up. I wouldn't say it's gonna jump up, but all the data is saying this is the level where people needs to take profit if they are shorting. So I think this was interesting to show my ideas, and just wanted to leave the record here on the YouTube so that I actually bought here, so that maybe I don't know, 3 months or 4 months later from now on, this could be just just a stupid idea, or I could be wrong, I could be right. Who knows? Who knows? Only the history knows. But I just wanted to leave my idea here, and I was away from the YouTube channel for a while from the English, so I just wanted to come back and give my sort of the best idea here. And the other thing is, I want to try to build this Bitcoin Geekend to a next level. And so if you like this video, please, if you just can retweet, or if you just can say, forward to the friend or whatever it may be, that's going to help me. And my goal is if the subscriber goes more than 20,000 people or something, I will launch a very short paid course to the US, and I already did to Japan, but I haven't reviewed all my stuff to this English channel, or like there are a lot of ways to do the trading, and there are lots of ideas that not so many people is discussing all about. I mean, again, I like technical analysis, but it's just a sort of the one of the perspective. So I think it's a good idea to have another perspective to do the trading. Like if you look at a little bit more fundamentals, or a little bit more, positioning ideas, or like sort of what people are really talking about. Or, I mean, more sources, and if all the sources is showing the same pictures, I think that's a good point to pull a trigger. And I think it's sort of beneficial. So when the subscriber hits 10,000 or 20,000, well, let's say 20,000. When the 20,000 hits, I will create a short course with a very reasonable price with my best content. And if you like it, please forward my channel to your friend or whatever it may be. And I just wanna, if that really, and I just create another video maybe once a week or twice a week here. So I just want to see you guys again. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you just can leave the comment or tweet or whatever, it's gonna be encouraging me. And thanks for watching. Thank you. Bye-bye.